Hello, welcome to Braemar Castle. I'm Doreen Wood, and today, the 1st of May, is the 100th birthday of Captain Alwyne Farquharson, 16th Laird of Invercold and the Chief of Clan Farquharson. He can't be with us today, but he'll be here later in the month. But the community have gathered here today to wish him every good wish and to cut a very special birthday cake.
Well, hello everyone. We're here in St Margaret's, Braemar, to launch an exciting new initiative which is called the Friends of St Margaret's. It's a way where everybody can take part and contribute to what goes on here. And we've got a special guest here today who became our first friend, the artist John Lowry Morrison. John, what does it mean to you to be the first friend of St Margaret's?
It's fabulous. Because this building is fabulous. It's one of the most inspiring buildings I've seen in a long time, and I'm into architecture. I just think it's wonderful. It's a wonderful venue for the arts in Braemar. I think it'll become a gem of the area, the whole of Deeside and further afield. And it's a real honour for me to be the first person to be a friend of the St Margaret's Arts Centre.
Well, thanks very much for signing up. If you want to find out more, we're on the St Margaret's Braemar website and look forward to hearing from you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are on the 1st of May. This is a very, very auspicious moment. I've been remembering the 1st of May 1919 for a very, very long time. No idea that here we were standing here on the 1st of May 2019. Here we are. The Laird has made 100, which is quite a remarkable achievement. But we've got Zan here, who's certainly not 100 and a long way off yet. So you've got a long way. So we'll be standing here in a few years' time for your birthday. So you all know Zan Grant, who worked in the estate office for the captain, didn't you, all those years ago? and you've known the family all your life, probably.
Not quite.
Not quite, not quite. Anyway, so we're here to wish Captain Farquharson here a very, very happy birthday. So the first thing to do is to Zan, do you want to blow the candles out?
Right now.
Do you want to blow the candles out? Yes, blow the candles out. That's it. Right. You. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Captain Farquharson. Happy birthday to you. Right, the next thing is we're going to cut the cake. So Zan, would you like to cut the cake for us? There we are. Make a wish that the lad will live to 110, 120. There we go. Thank you very much indeed. Right, the next thing, just hang on. We need to raise our glasses or our cups. Here we are. There's an empty cup for you. Right, we now need to raise our glasses to Captain Farquharson. Captain Farquharson. Shall we do 3 cheers? Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!
Hello, I'm Angus Wood.
I'm Fergus Wood.
And I'm Fraser Wood.
And what's been happening tonight?
Well, we were here to receive our Queen Scout award and also our Gold Duke of Edinburgh award.
And how long has this taken in all?
12 years. We've done it since 2006 when we joined as Beavers.
And what do you think you've all got out of these achievements?
Well, definitely we've made new friends along the way, but we've also picked up a lot of key skills which we've used on a daily basis all the way through, from communication to team working, which have all helped us get through life so far.
And what sort of key skills do you think you've got out of this process?
Definitely teamwork, communication, listening skills, and be able to listen to instructions and be able to complete tasks and that sort of thing.
Any particular highlights of the journey that you all remember?
Well, I think for all of us, I can say that Romania, both in the good and bad, was particularly a highlight that I will certainly never forget. Also, our Blair Athol International Jamboree was an incredible experience, met so many new people and made so many new friends. I really think that highlighted to us the scouting community and the scouting family.
And that the process involved a number of initiatives and adventures you've had locally in Braemar as well?
Yes, to get the award we had to do a number of tasks. So one of these was helping out at the church, so we did that for 2 years and took part in the services and such like. Also volunteering on the local estates for conservative, and also just wildlife, just looking at that sort of thing. So definitely got to see a lot of and meet a lot of the local people.
And I think just in general is helping out and becoming a part and giving something back to the community that had given so much to us in a way of fundraising and giving hours and just giving us the opportunities to do all the incredible things that we've done. So it was only right for us to give a little bit back to them.
And do you think you'll all be continuing with various activities to do with the Scouts in future?
Definitely. We're all part of the network, which is the 18 to 25 year old branch of Scouting. So when we go off to uni, we can join the sort of local branches of network Scouts when we leave to go off to university.
And I certainly think later on in life, all 3 of us will probably take up a leadership role within Scouting, becoming leaders just as our parents were for us, and maybe give back some of the stuff that we did and let future generations do as well.
And I take it you've all really enjoyed the journey.
Yes, it's been a fantastic experience. We've enjoyed every single moment of it. It's been absolutely amazing.
Even with the rain and sleet.
And the snow.
Thank you very much. And congratulations to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Well, I was born and brought up in Ballater, went to Ballater Primary and Secondary School, and most of my time was spent either fishing the hill burns, which at that time was just full of brown trout, salmon, parr and eels. Also, every young lad at that time had a bird collection, which is frowned, egg collection, which is frowned on just now. But we spent most of our time just walking the hills, exploring, fishing, and as I say, collecting a bird egg.
Did you have family who was in farming or gamekeeping?
My mother's side of the family were farming folk. My grandfather farmed at Dalbegie in Ballater, and then he moved to Donside, and it was a little farm like Coyley Creek down at Ballater, but unfortunately he was only in there a couple of years when they rebuilt and made a new road, and all the trade bypassed him, so he kind of left Donside and went to Canada. Didn't like it there and came back and went into keepering, and he eventually ended up down at Minultry on Invercalled as a fishing gillie, a hill keeper.
So when you left school, what did you do?
Well, my first job was on the farm at Carnellan down at Balter. It was owned that time by Mr. Logan, Paddy Logan. He also had the farming ground as well. And I was there for about 3 years. But all I wanted to do really when I left school was either to become a gamekeeper stalker or a shepherd, a hill shepherd. And I've been very lucky, I've managed to do both. My first job was with Charlie Smith at Achalater. I was a couple of years with Charlie. He was a hard boss to work for, but a very good boss if you wanted to learn about sheep. Most winters we managed to stay up at Achalater to the new year, and then we moved down country and started feeding in grass, and then later on in February we moved up country to turnips and slowly grazed our way back up to a Boyne or Tarland, and then just before April we would take the sheep all back up to Achalater and started to lamb them there about the 10th of April.
So was the winters much harder than they are now in those days?
Oh, crikey, aye. Big difference. The first year I went to Achalater, when I was with the estate, my Land Rover sat at the end of the road for just about 3 months. Couldn't get down. Winters at that time. So over the years there's been a big difference in the weather. It's mainly, you get some snow, but not a lot of snow. It's a wet, cold winter months. In summer it's just basically a kind of follow on, but a little bit warmer.
So how did you move from sheep farming into shepherding into gamekeeping?
Well, I always wanted to try the keepering as well, and when I was with Charlie there was a vacancy came up in Glentana, so I applied for the job and got it, and I was down there roughly about 2 years, and it was a lovely little estate. It had prime fishing, it had some grouse, some deer, but there was a big difference with the hills compared to Braemar, and I just wanted to get back to Braemar. But I stayed down there roughly 2 years, and I must admit I enjoyed it. But I always wanted back to Braemar, and I was very fortunate. Charlie Smith was looking for a lambing shepherd, so I took a chance, applied for a job from him again and got it, but it was only for the month of April. And the lambing was just about finished when Finlay Cameron, who also had a sheep place over in Glenshee, he was looking for a lambing shepherd. So I went over there and did the lambing with Finlay in the month of May. And he must have thought I was all right as a shepherd, because he offered me a full-time job, which I took. And I must admit, I enjoyed my time over there at Glenshee. It was a very close-knit community, but everybody got on well with everybody, keepers and shepherds, and I must admit I enjoyed my time. Having said that, about the end of July, Donald MacDonald, who was the head keeper at Invercold at the time, wrote and asked if I was interested in a job in Invercold. One of the young keepers, Ian Fraser, who came from Crathy, was leaving and going to Australia. If I was interested, get in touch, and he would arrange an interview with the Laird and Factor. So I did that, and I went over the following weekend, met both the Laird and the Factor, and was offered the job, which I took. And as they say, the rest history. I stayed there for the rest of my life. I was on the home beat, working with Donald MacDonald, and Archie Davidson was on the slugging at that time. And the three of us basically worked together all during the summer months and the back end as well, until the season time rolled on, and then all the keepers from round about in the Perthshire side, down at Crathy, everybody used to come in and work together during the grouse time. The grouse was shot in hand. The head keeper showed me first of all what all was involved in the gun room, because that was my main job during the grouse. I saw to the cartridges, filled up all the cartridge bags, and made sure that the gun slips, cartridge bags was all dry at night if they were wet, filled them up again next morning, and then at the end of the week I counted up all the cartridges that each guest used and gave them to the secretary in the office, and he sorted everything out from there. Also during that time, during the season time, we had to shoot an odd stag or two for the big house. That was done either early in the morning before we went to grouse, or when we came home after supper. And then we used to pluck quite a lot of grouse for the big house as well. And again, that was done in the evenings along with some of the beaters from the bothy. The first fox I shot on Invercold was done, I think it was just in the month of December. We were out looking for yelled hinds for Christmas presents. And that, a yelled hind is a hind that hasn't got a calf at foot, and she's usually in good order. So roughly between the venison that was given to the state employees, local dignitaries, we used to have to shoot up 40 to 45 good hinds. Everybody got a hunch at that time, so it was quite a lot of work. This particular day we drove over to the Gairn to see if we could get hinds there, and they must have known we were coming because there was nothing there to be seen at all. So we came back home round the Moss Road by Corndavin, and at the top of the Helmsdale we stopped for our lunch. Overnight there had been a dusting of snow, and then as morning came in it was hard frost and the snow never melted. We were sitting having lunch, and I happened to look up and I saw a movement in the skyline. Put on the binoculars, and here's a fox coming in over from Corndavin. So we sat and watched it for a wee while, and eventually he came so far down and lay down. So the head keeper thought he was going to stay there for the rest of the day. So we watched him for a wee while, and he never moved. So I asked Donald if it was all right if I could go and stalk this fox. So he gave me permission to go ahead and see what I could do. And it was an awkward stalk, but eventually I managed to cross this flat, and I was going up the steep at the other side, and I happened to look up again and I saw another movement. Put the binoculars on, and here's another fox following exactly the same way down as the first fox did. And hard behind him came an eagle, and the eagle came down, grabbed a hold of the fox and lifted the fox up off the ground. And there was a big racket with the fox, growling and snarling and yelling. And the eagle must have lifted him up about 5 or 6 feet off the ground, and he was turning around trying to bite the eagle's leg. So the eagle dropped the fox, and the fox took back out into Corndavin with the eagle hard behind him. So anyway, I thought the first fox had come in, hearing the noise, would have been long gone. So anyway, I went a little bit further forward, spied again. No, the fox is still lying there. So I cut back up round the top, got the marks where the pair of foxes had come down, followed the marks down so far, and then I saw him and crawled down a wee bit further onto a bump and managed to get a shot at him. And it was a tricky kind of stalk, but I got there and he just raised the head a wee bit and I shot him, and that was that. He never knew what hit him. And that was my first fox in Invercold.
Why is it so important to shoot foxes on the hill?
Well, they do a lot of damage. They take a lot of ground nesting birds, particularly grouse. They'll take pheasants as well, but they'll take the peaweep, they'll take the oyster catcher as well. But also at lambing time, he can be quite hard on lambs. And I remember Colin McIntosh, who was at Invercold as well, he was in the Calater beat, telling me when he came home from the war, the first year after the war, the farmer at a Hollader lost 92 lambs to foxes, and that's a lot of lambs. So it's essential that we try to keep on top of the fox population and not let them get so far up as that again.
Because another important part of your job would have been looking after ponies. So how do you get involved with? Is that something you'd been involved with before? How do you get involved with the ponies?
No, I'd never any experience or work with ponies until I came to Invercold. And at that time, Invercold had 4 ponies of their own, but they used to hire ponies from Jimmy Archibald, who was down in Ballater. And Jimmy was well known in the pony world. He bred Highland ponies, he showed Highland ponies, and he judged it. I think it was well over 90 different shows on, including the Highland show. And Jimmy used to put up, I think it was 3 or else 4 ponies to Invercold as well, to other beats. So anyway, our ponies started to get old, and we thought we wouldn't have to buy new ponies. Anyway, at that time, Jimmy announced that he was retiring and giving up the Highland ponies. So I asked the head keeper if we could buy a mare and breed our own replacements for the future. So he went and asked the factor, and the factor went and asked the laird, and they both thought it was a good idea. So the job was left to me. So with the help of Jimmy Archibald, we managed to rear I can't mind, I think it was about 8 or 9 different ponies altogether. And basically I knew very little about ponies. And from time to time, when Jimmy had his ponies, I would have to go down and break ponies that he had bought for the hill. And this could be quite a dangerous job, because it all depends if a pony accepts a stag onto its back. And if it doesn't, and you've got a stag onto its back, well, it can kick you, it can trample you, and also the stag in the saddle can shift, and if it goes in below the pony, the horn can go into the belly or the stomach or the horse, and well, it's a disaster. So I thought there was easier ways to break a horse than that. So the first foal that we had, at a very early age, I started to get the foal to come in about to me. And to do that, I had granulated sugar, and when the foal came in about for a start, I would rub the sugar over the lips and the mouth of the foal, and once it got a taste of sugar, you had a friend for life. It always came to you. There's nothing worse when you go to a field for a horse, and when the horse sees you coming with a rope, it takes off. You spend maybe half an hour trying to chase a horse. It gets worked up, you get worked up, and it's just a disaster. So that's the most essential thing, getting the foal used to you and coming to you when it sees it. The second thing I did was getting it used to a little bridle. And once you got the bridle over the pony's head and the foal used to that, we used to take it out a walk up my road, onto the main road, along to my garage and back down to my house at a Hollater. It may be about a half mile of a walk altogether. And it got used to you, it got used to the traffic, and particularly air brakes of a bus or a lorry. And sometimes people would stop and come out over and take a photograph of the mare and the foal. So all that helped to get the foal used to you and to other people and different noises. Another thing I did was getting the foal to go into a horse box. A lot of people leave it till it's maybe 1 or 2 years old. And if it's never went into a horse box before, you can have a lot of problems. And again, you can maybe get kicked trying to get a horse into the horse box. So all this was done at a very early age. I did it by taking the mare in, and of course the foal followed on. And I did this maybe once or twice every day, and before long there was no problem with the foal. Also, when it came to the time for the blacksmith coming to put on shoes or trim the feet, I used to lift the foal's feet, give it a tap with a hammer, give it a rub with a rasp, and it got it used to the blacksmith for years to come. Another thing I did was crossing the River Cluny with the foal. I made a mistake. The first mare that I broke, I never thought in crossing a burn with it. And we eventually shot a stag, put the stag on, no problem at all, and started to walk with the mare, no problem. But when we came to the burn, she wouldn't cross it, and I had a big job getting her across the burn. So, taking the mare and the foal across the burn at a very early age, say at a month or 2 months old, sorted all that problems out. It's maybe not the way that other people would break a pony, but I found it a very simple way to do it. And touch wood, with all the foals that we broke and at Invercalled, never once had a problem, never once.
So it sounds like you had a really good life. Would you do it all again?
If I could turn the clock back, yes, definitely. But what a keeper has to do nowadays, no way, no way.
So what would you say to a young lad who was interested in becoming a keeper?
I would say think twice. I think I've seen the best of it, to be quite honest. There is so much now people against this way of life. They don't really understand what a keeper's job is all about. And they just think it's all about shooting. But the work that we do benefits conservation. There is absolutely no doubt about that. And where you have no fox control, no vermin control, you can see the big difference. There is nothing on that ground. But when you go to a managed sporting estate, you can see waders, you can see everything.
So if you look forward, let's say 10 or 20 years, what do you think the countryside, the estate, do you think there'll still be grouse shooting and deer stalking as we know it?
I would like to think so, but I think it'll change enormously. There's big changes afoot just now. They want us to stop burning heather. They don't want us to put out medicated grit. They want to ban fox hunting. I mean, I'm very worried what the future holds for this type of work. Very worried.
Hello, I'm Tom Barron. Today we're in Braemar, and this is the opening of my solo show here at Braemar Gallery.
Have you been at Braemar Gallery before?
Yes, I've shown with Andrew at Braemar Gallery for about 15 years, so off and on, and I've had 3 other solo shows here with him and a couple of other joint shows with other artists, including Fiona Haldane and some of his regulars.
And you said 15 years, is that as a professional artist?
Yeah, that's been as a professional artist. I've been full-time roughly for around that same period of time. And here we are, 15 years later, yeah.
And your speciality, but your interest is looking at paintings in sort of seascapes, landscapes, particularly Scotland?
Yeah, mostly, I think my career mostly has been seascape work. Though for this show I did some specific paintings, some local paintings for the gallery with Loch Nagar and up the Upper Deeside Road.
And what is your main medium? Is it oil?
It's oil, and it's always been oil on canvas, so quite traditionally painted from the ground up, really.
And has this been something that you've always done?
No, I spent 20 years as a design consultant, working in London and Edinburgh and with projects all over the world, but I stopped doing that in around 2001, 2002.
But now as an established Scottish artist?
Well, hopefully established, yeah, I would say so. I mean, I've been with a lot of galleries here and in London, and I've also been signed with the UK's largest fine art publisher, De Montfort's in Lichfield, and so the work goes globally from there.
Do you have a website or anything if people want to look at other work you've got or things that are available?
Yeah, I do have a website, but it's a temporary one. My website was hacked and destroyed. So my web designers called me something together, but it's a good way to get in touch if you'd like to. And the web address is scottishoilpainting.com.
And if they, other than that, can they contact you through Braemar Gallery?
Yes, they can, at any time.
So you'll be here, you're generally here quite a lot of the time?
I'm here at weekends. For the last year or so I've been helping Andrew at weekends with the gallery. Sometimes I'm painting here, sometimes I'm just working as a gallery manager. So yeah, I'm here most weekends.
And how long is this particular exhibition going to be on?
It's going to be on for a month, so today's the 20th of April, and it'll be here till roughly about the 20th of May.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's all from Braemar TV. We've had a great celebration here at Braemar Castle. Only one way to finish. Happy birthday again to Captain Farquharson.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Captain Farquharson.